You're listening to Finding My Own Weird, where we'll follow yours truly on a journey to discover my own authentic weird self. I'm your host, Christine Lassiter. Joining me will be amazing guests who found their own formula and are living and thriving as their own wonderfully weird selves. So hold on tight, it's about to get weird. Hey folks, it's your host Christine here. Remember me? I just wanted to pop in real quick for a couple of quick announcements. This episode is very long, so I am going to keep this brief. I have done a ton of finding my own weird since my last episode of season 1. You'll hear all about that towards the end of this episode. I just wanted to officially announce that as of January 21st, I was voted in as president of Weird Portland United, a non-for-profit organization who celebrates, amplifies, and incubates the wonderful weird that Portland has to offer. This is so exciting for me, and I have so many amazing things planned for this year and the years to come. I also want to make sure that if you are watching this podcast on YouTube or Spotify, that you watch to the end and see the absolutely wild We Are So Weird music video that I wrote, directed, and produced last year. And if you aren't watching the video recording of this episode, you can find the YouTube music video in the links in the description. One last thing. I cannot thank my best friend Mark enough for doing this episode with me. He has seen me through so many odd and strange times in my life as I have continuously reinvented myself, and his support means the world to me. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did making it. Now sit back and get your weird on. Welcome back to season 2 of Finding My Own Weird. It's been a hot minute since I have done a season, and this episode's going to be a little bit different because there's a lot to talk about. I have been doing a little bit of finding my own weird since my last episode, and so there's a lot to catch you up on. But I wanted to do this format just a little bit different today because I tried to do it with just myself to try to explain what I've been doing, and I got so annoyed with my own voice that I had to cut it off and stop it. I couldn't do it. So I'm very fortunate because one of my very closest friends for the last 20 years has come to see me. He just traveled over 9 hours to come see me. I was kind of bitchy about it, but that's okay. You know, I'll give him that as part of being friends for so long. So we're going to talk a little bit about what I've been doing over the last several months. But I thought you might want to get to know Mark a little bit before. So, hi, Mark.
Hi. That was 9 hours via airplane.
Via airplane.
Yes, not in the vehicle.
Right.
That's totally different.
Yeah, that means, and you had the hour and a half drive,
to the airport, yes.
The 3 stops to try to get your oil changed on the way to the airport.
Yes, 3. Yeah. That was a long day.
That was a long day.
It was a long day.
It's a long day.
All those time zone changes. It's just a hard life.
You know, that I can so appreciate it. That when I went to pick you up yesterday, and when you saw me, you were just bitchy.
That's it.
It wasn't like, I'm so glad to see you. You're like, I need a cigarette.
Yes. Yeah. Where I give you just the side hug and be like, where's my suitcase? I just want my fucking
I just need to
suitcase.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark and I have known each other for
19 years and 10 months.
That's right. It's almost our 20-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm. February something.
It's like the 29th.
Is it the last day?
I think it's the 28th, 29th.
Oh, that's a leap year.
28th.
Well, this year's a leap year.
This year's a leap year. So how many years then if you count the leap years?
I don't even know.
I don't know. And math, that's hard. But yeah, it's kind of funny how we met.
Indeed.
I think I was searching for something even back then. I was about to turn 30. I was a few days from turning 30 and had a 1-year-old.
That's right. Hang on. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, you do.
I just want to say that your birthday is March 5th.
That's so good.
And that came out of my head.
Oh, my God.
I don't have that written down anywhere.
Nowhere. And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And yours is in April.
Yeah. You bitch. Go ahead.
20. This is the kind of relationship you need in your life right here.
Right.
Yeah. So I was unhappily married. Which had nothing to do with meeting Mark. There's none of that monkey business going on. But I was unhappily married. I had a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old at home, and just was looking for something different, and was flipping through a newspaper, like an actual, it was printed on paper and everything, newspaper. And
I didn't know there. Oh, yes, I do remember that there was an ad for
that there were newspapers.
Yeah. Yes, back in the day.
Yeah, there was an ad for auditions for the play Grease. And I had
the
musical Grease. I had dabbled in theater in high school, but not since high school. And like I said, I was about to turn 30, and I thought, why not? Just why not?
That's right.
So I had not auditioned for a play in a very long time, and I felt like I needed to commit to the role. And even though I look like more of a Sandy type, I'm a Rizzo at heart. So I went all out. I bought a little black wig, which is very important.
It was black. I remember it as brown, and then when you said black,
it's black.
Now I remember it as black.
And I darkened my eyebrows, the whole works, and I went as, I was auditioned for Rizzo, so I went as Rizzo. And this was a weird play because it was people like of all ages.
It was, I don't know what the oldest. So there was like a weird clique of people that were involved in the play or musical, and then there were random people that nobody really knew. You know, kind of like you.
Yeah.
It came out, like, saw it in the newspaper and went, whatever. There were high school kids. There were local celebrities.
Like, newscast people.
Yeah, there was what was that? Wasn't there there was an MD, like a doctor? Or was he a PhD? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But I know he worked at the University of Texas Hospital there north up by the interstate.
This was back in Texas.
Yeah, doing like research or something.
Yeah,
there.
It was
because once people found out he was a doctor, but I don't think anybody ever nailed down whether it was MD or PhD.
Right.
Everybody was going to him. I don't know if you remember that, but everybody's going to him going, I have a spot right here. Do you know what that means? And like pulling shirts up and dropping pants.
There was a lot of that going on too there.
Yeah, and saying there's a place on my eyeball, you know. and he was nice because I remember him, you know, actually looking at this, whether he knew what he was doing or not. But he sounded like he
Maybe
knew
it's just a
doing.
perv. I don't know. Who knows?
Hey,
He's like, yeah,
lift
your shirt a little higher. I didn't see that.
No, that was me.
Yeah. It was such a weird group of people because it was like 15 to 16-year-olds, you know,
in their 50s.
Yeah. And so I auditioned for Rizzo. I did not get it. Although later you did tell me, because you were close to the director, that I was in consideration.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of cool. But during the auditions, they wanted us to pair off and dance. And again, weird ages, weird group of people. And Mark, who was 23 at the time.
Yeah.
22, 23.
04.
No, you weren't 24 yet. You were like...
No. That was in 04.
Almost.
I was 22.
He was a wee babe himself, but still an adult.
Let me take this real quick. I looked around and I said, I'm going to grab a cougar.
Thanks.
And...
Because everybody else was jailbait.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I was in that awkward stage in life. And there was... when I looked around and I saw you... Of course, I had seen you, you know, throughout the thing, but I went, I'm dancing with her. That hair is fucked up. I like it. And so...
We actually did good. I mean, she even called us out and was like,
Yeah.
yeah, look at Christine and Mark.
Yeah.
You know, like we were doing a good job.
Yeah. She just
And
put
then
on
people were looking at us.
right, yeah. Just for the little like she put on some kind of 50s, at the hop
Yeah.
type music or something, and she just said, I just want you all to pair off and dance.
Yeah.
And there was no choreography. It was just people doing the twist or the mashed potato or the whatever, what was that, the Charleston.
Look, I don't know, dude. You're older than me, and you're in so many ways.
Mentally.
Mentally, you're so much older than me.
Whatever we were doing was very. If anybody has ever seen, I'm gonna go way out there. If anybody has ever seen Friday the 13th Part 4,
Oh God.
the one that has Crispin Glover in it. Crispin Glover is
From
from
Back to the Future.
and
Yeah.
other God, who knows?
Yeah,
Whatever.
whatever.
I can't think of any. I mean, I can see him in other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a part in about the middle of the movie of Friday the 13th Part 4 where Crispin there's music playing. This is like some of that good 1983, 84 music.
Sure.
There's music playing, and you could tell that the director just went, okay, you guys dance.
Yeah.
So there's like 6 of them in the living room, and there's 5 of them that are doing the 80s thing, the snapping.
If
and
you are
all
not
that.
watching this on video, you should be right now.
But then Crispin Glover, who is a weirdo apparently in real life.
In real life,
He's like just,
he's feeling it.
oh, he's getting down. And like to the point where you can see the cast members, some of them are smiling as they're glancing over at him, and you can tell that's totally not scripted. But they left it in. That's how we were dancing. It felt ridiculous, but it didn't matter because we were all, there were like, what, 50 of us
There
on
was
stage?
I don't know. There was a
Hell,
bunch.
it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But so we were so into it. And Christine, I don't know if you were banging your head. I don't know what happened. But that short, spiky hair.
Yeah, my nice
That
little,
you had?
my nice little cool, my nice Rizzo
Yes.
wig.
That totally, I guess, this is the first time I ever heard that you said you dyed your eyebrows.
Yeah, I darkened them
Yeah, darkened
so
them.
that it looked a little bit more natural.
That must have been part of it.
Yeah.
Because that was your hair.
Yeah.
I thought, who is this weirdo looking lady coming in here with because that back then that was something you didn't really see.
Yeah.
At least in that area. And I guess it was because the eyebrows blended. But I guess you forgot your safety pins.
Well, I didn't.
Or you didn't weave the wig in.
I didn't have terribly long hair then either. It was kind of shoulder length, and I'd put it up in a ponytail and put a cap on, and then put the wig on. But somehow in our
gesticulations,
pretty fantastical dance number, the wig came off.
The wig did not come off. The wig flew off.
And I was unaware.
It was like a squirrel had been hit by a car and just went bing and shot off into it flew. It went feet into the air.
I had
feet
to be
away from
really feeling the music
You were.
and the compliment of that we were doing a good job and that anybody even chose to dance with me. I must have been feeling myself then,
Right.
because I was so into all of that I had no idea. And then all of a sudden, I look over at this guy who I was dancing with, who had stopped. Who had just dead stopped, and he was just staring at me, and I was like, what the hell? What's this guy doing? It was so weird.
It's not every day that you see somebody's hair just fly off when you don't realize that that's not their hair.
Yeah, and at that point, what do? I could have been just mortified. I just took off the cap, pulled down the hair, and I'm blonde, and I'm super
she had this blonde hair.
it shocked the illusion completely.
Yeah, it was. It was like learning the magician's trick.
Yeah.
Where it totally ruined the experience. But I mean, you know, that sounded terrible. So, but you know.
But yeah, so that's how Mark and I met.
There was also in that little thing. So we became acquainted at that time, but I don't really think we really became friends until as we were learning choreography for those once we had gotten our roles and all of that. And
oh, by the way, Mark was Kenickie,
which was totally not a good
and I've
fit.
known Mark for almost 20 years now, and I can't even picture him in a play, and that's how I met him. But Mark was Kenickie, of all people.
A Hickey from Kenickie.
Yeah.
The going through and learning the choreography and whatever song it was that it involved just about everybody, I guess.
Yeah, we were all crowding towards Sandy, maybe. We were all like pushed together.
And so I ended up behind Christine, and we were all pushed, like, it was really random. Everybody just ran into a big crowd facing and did one of those throw your hands up in the air and pose for the end of the song. And I remember having hands up in the air, and my crotch was buried in her butt. I had gotten behind her, and this was completely random, honestly.
Yeah, there was no...
And had just ended up right behind her and had gone too far forward.
And it would have been nothing. It would have been nothing.
Nobody would have ever thought anything.
We were all crammed together. Nobody would have thought anything except
everybody.
For you.
Actually, everybody's crotches were probably in everybody else's butts. But I leaned down and I said, "Sorry."
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, I lost it because I really wouldn't even give it a thought to it, but he apologized for it. And that made it so funny. And then at that point, then it was a mission. Your mission.
Oh, I had to do that. Yeah. Yeah. At the most inappropriate times, even during the, I think it got to the point where when we actually we did what, 5 shows, 6 shows?
So many, yeah.
It got where it was almost like humping. And this is during the final product,
yes.
like what was
actually what people came to see.
I think I was thrusting at that by the end of it. That like make sure,
yes.
And then not even in that thing. Like anytime I could get,
I'd be tying my shoe. I'd be tying my
Christine.
shoe, and Mark would be there. Like
I'd do something.
Yes, and nothing says friendship like I'm sorry I pressed my dick against you.
I know. And you would think that I would have gotten over that because at that point I had turned from 22 to 23 and had totally grown up.
Totally, absolutely.
But
yeah,
I guess not.
No, you're still the youngest old man I know. But yeah, that was a beginning of what I always considered an unlikely friendship because I was 30, you were 23, I was married and had kids, and you were a waiter and you were going to school for journalism, and
Actually, I was managing that restaurant at that point.
Oh,
yeah, I was like
big time.
Yeah, no, actually, I took a pay cut. That was which if anybody has ever worked in restaurants knows that once you get into management, unless you're the general manager, you're taking a pay cut. Unless you're working in some big corporate like Chili's or something, but you're going to take a pay cut. And it's because you want to put it on your resume. And it's not just like it's a substantial pay cut. Like you go from, nobody ever knows. If you're waiting tables or tending bar, you don't know how much you make unless you keep meticulous records because you're probably not going to claim all of it.
Right.
So
your paychecks were nothing. You used to show me.
They were usually void.
Yeah, they were $0,
which is
0 cents.
Weird laws that doesn't matter, but
right. But yeah, you were a waiter. You were going to school.
Yeah.
And we just became
Yeah.
just great friends.
Yeah. Would go. She brought me into her. She had a little circle of friends that.
I worked in senior health care.
Yeah, and so wasn't necessarily like RNs or LVNs. I think it was mostly just
marketers,
like
and stuff. Yeah, we were. There was a group of us that were what did Wendy Lee used to call us the Culture Club. Because Wendy Lee did not feel cultured and thought we were all like highfalutin,
right?
Until she got to know us, and then she fell in love with all of us too. But
that's funny.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was a group of
that
us.
actually sounds like something she would say.
Totally.
And she, yeah, okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, I did. I brought you in. I'm like, here's my, and that, several of them would call you Little Mark. Oh, Little Mark.
Yeah.
They all thought you were adorable. Some more than others. Anyway, so yeah, that was the beginning of a very long friendship that is probably one of my most valuable things.
Yeah.
Because there's times that we would go months without talking to each other. Where I would be like, God, I hope Mark's still alive. And, and then we would, then we'd talk again like in zero time had passed. Actually, we talk more now than we did many, many years ago.
Probably, yeah. It's when things start happening in your life.
And you're like, time's precious.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. You're just like, I need to stop being that guy that like makes you get in touch with me, or... Because I was really bad about that at that time. You may have been too.
Yeah, I think we both. Yeah, I mean, it was just, life happens.
If you don't keep in touch with me, then we're probably going to lose touch.
Yeah.
Because I am going to, I'm one of those people that's so busy.
So busy.
Yeah.
Mark's had about 50 careers since I've known him.
Yeah.
He's worked at, probably 30 restaurants since I've known him.
I took a count. I actually took a count the other day. It's not really all. I mean,
it's not that many. It just
it's like 17.
Oh, I mean, it is.
I mean, that's it depends on to some people, yeah, maybe,
yeah,
but to others, no. But yeah, tour guide in Alaska.
Yeah, every time I would turn around, Mark would be starting a new adventure, a new career.
It was because when I was 25, I think I was 25, maybe 26. I think I was 26, actually. I remember I said it out loud, like in my, wherever I was staying at the time, whatever, bedroom or something. I was by myself, so I didn't look completely crazy. So I said out loud, I had a dad that said, that I heard him say a lot of times. I'm sorry, I'm having a...
This is what 70-year-old men do. Sometimes they just burp for no reason.
I need some Tums. Okay. Now, I had a dad who I heard many, many, many times say, if I had to do it over again, or I wish I would have. I heard that a lot. That's not saying that he had just a bunch of regrets. But I heard that a lot, and I said, when I was 26, I said, if I can help it, I want to say that the least amount of times that I possibly can in my life from point A to point B. So that's part of the reason why it's time to go do something else every once in a while. I mean, sometimes it's money,
yeah,
but sometimes it's just you look at something and you go, I wonder if I could do that.
As a waiter, you were funny because you don't particularly love people. Not particularly. You're not a huge fan, especially if they're annoying or, I mean, you have a fairly low tolerance for that stuff.
And it's getting low. It's getting lower.
But you're remarkably, even knowing that, you were a good waiter. You did good. And it's not because you would put on a fake persona. You would still be you.
Yeah, a dick.
Yeah, but they somehow found you charming
Right.
in that. It's so funny. But yeah, and I would go wherever you were waiting. I always go and, eat there and stuff. And that was, people would know I was your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. People thought for years and years and years and years that there was something going on between Mark and I. And in almost 20 years, there's never been a thing going on between Mark and I.
That's right.
And yeah, that's
funny though.
we are the people that can actually say you can be friends with the opposite sex without.
I don't know now if that's a thing. Back then, that was a thing. That was like 20. And before that, don't walk around to your Torrid store for the semi.
Oh, don't read my stupid text.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what that is. So.
It's a clothing store.
Oh, okay. I just saw a movement. And,
the ADD runs strong.
I even had friends that were like, "No, there's no way that you can just be friends with somebody that doesn't have the equipment that you have." And I thought, well, no, I've got a few.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good spread on both sides. I had an even spread, and I just thought that just doesn't make any sense to me. But
yeah,
oh well,
it's been one of those. It's been like a running joke for forever, though.
Oh yeah, people totally thought we were fucking.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is like, ew, no.
Yeah,
and
I don't think we've ever done anything to even promote that. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely not. Not like
nobody ever caught us in one of those weird. Aside from all the butt humping that
for,
was going on in
except
the
for
play.
when we first started, and yeah.
But nobody ever caught us in this weird where you look and go, it's not what it looks like. You know, type.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, for that to be our origin story, it's pretty funny that that was and would never be a thing.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
But
very strange.
That's okay. I think it is more normalized now.
Yeah.
Probably. I say that. I don't know.
I don't get out much.
Most of my newer friends are all gay, so.
Right. Most of my newer friends are non-existent. If it takes you that long to think about who your new friends are, I guess
when's the last time I had a new friend?
Yeah, when's the last time I met a new
Most of my
friend?
new friends are old friends. So we were talking about your vast careers. It did become comical to me because it seemed like every time I talked to you, and it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm kind of gliding a line that, I'm moving up into the same thing, or it's a similar. It would be so different.
Yeah.
Like when you did go to Alaska and you were the tour guide. Again, Mark doesn't like people. And in Alaska, that's a lot of old people. And I'll tell you in a minute why that Mark doesn't like old people.
That tested the limits. That tested the limits right there.
Right, because that was you had to deal with like a lot of stuff with that, right? Like people not really realizing that they were not healthy enough to.
Oh yeah.
to do the tour that
right.
they signed
and,
up for.
Bless their hearts, the people just. And I'm going to be like that one day too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be like, no, I can do that. And I can't
Medic.
do that. Yeah.
It'll be some asshole like you.
I can open that jar of pickles by myself, and I can't do it,
What did you do the other day? You were in the shower and you threw your back out or something?
Oh. No, that was avocado. That was an avocado. I was trying to get the pit out of a fucking avocado. And that wasn't the other day. That was in June. But I've thrown my back, I don't know, 3 times. And each one was like, well, just take muscle relaxers or, like throwing it severely enough to have to go somewhere and get some kind of medication. And that's pretty bad. Like that's like can't breathe.
Yeah.
Have trouble walking to get medication for it. Like even this last time I went to Walmart and bought like Dones, or you remember Dones?
Right.
Like for backache. I don't even know if they make that shit anymore, but,
And Mark's the ripe old age of 43 now.
Yeah, right. I think I got Bayer aspirin. Whatever. It was something that said, like, this is specifically for hard-hitting back pain or something like that. Like it matters. I probably should have gotten Midol. It's probably what I should have gotten.
You know what? That is no joke right there. You get a migraine, take some Midol,
Yeah. No, that's a real thing, and it takes like a month to get over it.
But you'd be annoyed by people who were dealing with that stuff when you were in Alaska.
Totally. Yeah, or like they would say, hey, Mark, I left my insulin. I'm like, in Anchorage, which is 100 miles away, and I can totally get that up here. And they're like, no, in Connecticut. And I'm like,
Did you not know that you were diabetic for the last 23 years?
You're 75 years old. I know you didn't start going on this yesterday or last week or whatever. How did you forget that? Like, that's something like I freak out. Like, if I had left that back in North Carolina, I mean, I wouldn't be freaking out, but I'd be sitting here like feeling like I'd be like,
I mean, he brought 2 watches to my house.
Right. Got a brown strap and a black strap. I'm like, where's my watch? I don't feel right without it. Well, if it's something that's going to keep me alive,
right?
I
mean, you take your dones everywhere you go.
Yeah, I do. I got I gotta have the Prilosec. I gotta have the dones, the Bayer, and yeah, no, that one tested the limits.
So you did the tour guide in Alaska for a minute. Now talking about friendship, to get you there, you asked me to drive you to the airport.
Yeah.
And so,
as in drive to the airport, as in drive to Dallas Fort Worth when we lived an hour and a half away.
Yeah, and which would have been that's still a thing.
It's totally doable. You were seeing a guy there that you were going to plan on visiting him anyway. It was sort of on the way.
He was with us. Jay was with us.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
And and he was cranky about it because he was just cranky anyway. But I told him he didn't have to go, but he decided he needed to go. And in this particular time, it was a blizzard. There was
the hell ice storm
of whatever year that was.
11.
I don't know, but about then. And
because it was Super Bowl weekend, and Dallas was hosting the Super Bowl that weekend, and yeah, it was rough.
So normally it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours with traffic to get from our town to Dallas, Dallas
probably
airport.
To the airport. To DFW, yeah, probably 2 hours.
That day it took us 6 hours.
6.
And we definitely nearly died when we were
the slowest death ever. What would have been the slowest death ever?
That we would
could have been.
That we would have not even been able to stop, and also would not have been able to escape, because at one point we're all stopped and on the interstate. So it's major interstate highway, and this 18-wheeler was in front of us, and we're stopped, but the roads were solid ice, and all of a sudden the truck just can't help itself. It just starts skidding backwards towards us.
And so you said, I'm going to be responsible and stop about 150 feet back from this truck because it's so the roads are so messed up. And so we had 150, actually more like 144 feet of watching this thing slide back toward us at about 1.5 miles per hour.
Yeah, it was very slow, but it was definitely coming towards us. And I was like, do I try to, because if I tried to pull over, then I'm in like
the median, which is
it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
Well, not worse than dying, but we would have not been able. Like, I was trying to decide, do we get out? What do we do? Because it was harrowing. It was pretty terrifying for several minutes. That started.
I mean, we totally could have. We would have gotten out of the car.
Obviously, yeah. We're not just going to watch it happen
and watch this thing slowly
smash my car into the cars behind it.
Yes, and but that was strange. But it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Or it stopped.
Yeah,
it stopped
we,
6 feet before.
Yeah, right before it got to us, and we lived to tell the tale.
Yeah. God,
Which I don't know if that makes up for the countless times that you helped me move.
Yeah.
Like the countless times, which you always loved because my dad was always there.
That was a trip.
As you know, as general manager, like he was managing the move. My dad was disabled, so he wasn't able to participate in the move.
But by God, he knew how to stack shit and exactly how it should be stacked and
he would tell you.
and what end should go where. And that is actually the dumbest thing you could have done, and don't do that. Why did you do that? Don't do that. Put that there. That needs to go there.
You know, for my free help that had come to help me for the 40th time. yeah, Dad. Trust me, Mark's done this a time or two for me.
Yeah. The funniest, bestest move that you ever made was you sent me a text, and I don't think you'd moved yet. I think maybe you were looking at the house, and you sent me a text, and you said, "Oh my God, I just saw you as an 80-year-old man."
Yes, you were walking down the street.
Walking down the street, and I said, "Ha ha, that's funny." You know, I don't know. I said probably something lame like that. Anyway, didn't really think much of it. And then Christine, this was like number 34.
The moves.
Calls and says, "Okay, so, you got another message."
It's okay. Just ignore the messages. It's fine.
Okay. And she says, "Hey, I'm moving again. I need help." And so I came to help, and so we loaded up, I guess, for the first round or whatever, from where you were out north. I think you were up Holly Lake or wherever.
Yeah.
And then so moved down. This is like, what, 25 miles, something like that.
Yeah, it's a long little trek.
Yeah. Moved down into we pull up at the house, and I look at it, I go, "This is the house?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "This was my grandparents' house. I grew up in this, like they bought that house." And
I took so many shits in this bathroom.
Yeah,
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah. I don't know if I said that. I was thinking that
you definitely said that.
I definitely knew the layout of that house, and I knew where both bathrooms were. I knew that one of them didn't have was a half bath. I definitely know that. They bought that in 1985, I think, because I was still a little guy. The house they lived in before was sort of out of town, like toward the high school on 16. And you pass by those houses. There were two houses there that they owned, the white one, and then they bought the brick one next to it, like in the 50s. And you've passed by them thousands of times, and and that was at that time was out of town, and then they bought that house in 1985. So I was like 4 so I have a few memories of the old house, but the 16 house, but the
York house,
the York Street house. That was
Grandma's
that
house,
was my stomping grounds right there.
It was such a random thing that I didn't know, and who I saw walking down the street
was my great uncle.
Yeah.
Which now,
like legit saw Mark when he was 80.
And we do looking at pictures from the 40s and 30s and say he could 40s and 50s. I think he was born in 1922, maybe. But yeah, looking at the old black and white pictures from 40s and 50s and into the early 60s of him, I go, we favor. You can tell that we were related?
It was everything. It was his stance. It was his walk.
Yeah.
Like everything about it. It was like I'm sure I did a double take because I'm
Yeah.
like, is that Mark? No, that's an old guy. But it was so much like you. It tripped me out, which is why you got that text. And lo and behold, there was a reason why.
My fucking uncle.
He was your family.
My funkle. And he was a drunk just like me.
Oh yay!
Yeah.
You know,
You never got to witness any of that?
I got to
guess.
witness you drunk.
No, him.
I was going to
No.
say, oh, honey, I've seen you drunk so many
No,
times.
I know this. No, he. I'm surprised he never came over drunk, like confused,
yeah.
like thinking that because at that point my grandparents had been passed away for. My grandfather passed away in '96. My grandmother passed away in '99, I think. And then you moved in what, 06?
It was when Jay and I were together. I don't remember.
Somewhere around there.
I don't. Who knows? It's
They-
all a blur.
Point being is both of them were still alive because right after that is when they started passing away. Aunt Pauline and Uncle Wimpy. Uncle Wimpy. Uncle Wimpy is who I look like. His name is Weldon. I don't know how he got the name Uncle Wimpy.
Because his name was Weldon, and they had to do something.
Well,
I know it's
that was
not
a cool name back in the day, though.
I guess compared to Wimpy, it
that
would
was
be
like
a cool
that
name.
was like the Michael of today. You know, like the name that evokes strength or whatever. Or, like Weldon, George.
The funniest time I remember you helping is when we lived in that house that was right by Birdie's.
Oh God.
And you're making noise with your tapping. Quit tapping. And when we moved into the house, I don't know what the hell these people were thinking, but they had painted every room like purple, blue. Like every room was like the wildest, darkest color. It was insane. So we needed to paint the house. So I'm like, hey, we need help with this.
That's funny.
Mark.
Well, the memory I have is that I thought that you all were painting the house weird colors.
No. We were painting it over it. In
Oh, okay.
Normal colors.
I remember the weird colors.
Yes.
But I have the memory that that's.
Well, your memory that day was probably pretty sketchy because you
I had a rough
had
night.
a serious hangover.
And that was back when I didn't get hangover, so I don't know what I did.
I don't know, but it was you were in rough shape. So I don't know why you didn't just say
no,
which would have been fine because I've asked a lot from you, and it would have been fine to say no to me. But you came hoping to get out of it, like
I
you
got up out of bed.
You showed up in clothes that you purposely
were not fit for
painting in, that were too nice. So I got you a garbage bag and put it over your head, cut a hole in it, and the arms out of it, and then we passed by the room that you're supposed to be painting, and you're passed out on the floor, just wearing a garbage bag, just passed out on the floor, and I'm just like, dude.
I think I painted maybe a quarter of
yeah,
one
it was
wall.
not. It was definitely not much.
I do remember leaving. Yeah, when you woke me up and you're like, "Why don't you just go home?"
Yeah, you just need to
And
go
I said,
home.
"You know what? That's probably a good idea."
Probably.
Actually, I don't think I could have. I think I went to my parents' house because it was closer.
Yeah, and you didn't. You were not well.
Yeah.
You were unwell that day.
And they were out of town, or they may have been there. And I don't. It doesn't matter. But I had been drinking red Gatorade.
Ooh.
And
That's what you were throwing out.
when I got I never did vomit.
You probably would have felt better if you had
I
it.
probably would have, but I do remember getting in whatever vehicle I was driving, and I looked up in the rearview mirror at myself, and I was like bone white, bleach bone white, my skin, and that I looked like a vampire. Because that red Gatorade had dyed my lips. And my eyes were bloodshot.
Yeah,
And
this is friendship here.
Whatever.
Totally did not say, I cannot make it.
Right.
I don't
But
know why.
I'm going to come, but I'm going to do
I'm
everything in my
definitely-
power.
I'm definitely going to get out of it.
Yes.
But I will show up.
Right. I'll be
Because that's
there.
what friends do.
I will be useless.
You're
but
going
I
to
will
have to tell me to go home. And you will.
Right.
I will make sure.
Because if you don't, I'm just going to sleep
I'm just
on
going to
the
sleep
floor.
on the floor of this ugly ass room in my garbage bag shirt.
Whoever eventually bought that house has, or at least last time I passed by it, whenever that was, a year ago probably, has almost totally like it's. I remember what house. I know that there's a house right around there that has been totally redone. And,
Well, I'm sure
yeah,
it needed it.
or it's been.
I
torn
hope it
down.
doesn't leak in that back den room anymore.
Oh, did that have a?
Yeah, it had.
I don't think that was one of the houses I never went over to.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from that one time and doing
Yeah.
that, you didn't live there long enough for
Yeah.
for you to have an occasion for me to
come hang out there.
because I hung out on the. You lived on Wood Springs at one time, and I hung out there, and of course over at York Street,
Out in
And
Hideaway. That's when I had.
Hideaway.
That's when I had the
Yeah.
record party.
Yes.
And everybody got.
Right. That was my old English.
Yeah, I got you a 40.
Yeah.
I got you a 40 just
Yeah.
because I thought it'd be funny, and you didn't have to drink it, but you felt like you had to drink it because I bought it for
Oh,
you.
it was so bad. It was so
like, dude, you don't have to. No, I have to.
Yeah,
It was
that was it. That was in my transition phase where I was like, okay, I'm going to be selective when I get drunk. I'm not just going to drink whatever is handed to
I have
me.
a picture of you somewhere holding the 40.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was
Yeah, you
loving
didn't.
it.
You weren't smiling. You were definitely like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding a fucking 40. I'm just like, whatever. You know, man, what a trooper. What a trooper you are.
I know. We were just talking about that earlier. I have steel gut now because I've trooped through so much.
So much.
Yeah, I guess I never went out. I did the Hideaway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
There's
But
been-
I think that literally was the only one
That you didn't really.
that I never went to.
Yeah,
I even went out to the place out on off of Jim Hogg when you were living with or when you were married.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know where you.
One of the times I was married.
Yeah, I know.
You've known me through 2 marriages, through 2 divorces.
2 divorces.
Yeah, because you did not know me. You met me when I was married to Joe.
I've known you legally under 3 last names.
Yeah.
With one being retaken.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, through a lot.
That's why I'm not going to throw all of your last names out, but every time I think of you, I think of Christine.
Yeah. On my aliases.
Yeah.
I have to write those all down when they're like, "Have you ever gone by any other last names?" And I have to write them all down. I'm like, "Son of a
Right. Yeah.
this looks
And
so
they're
ridiculous."
looking at it and they're like, "Woo!"
They're like, then they have to run me because then they're like, if I didn't, it'd just be normal. But because it's like I have to write down all of these names. They're like,
Yeah.
this is suspicious.
Yeah, right.
So they're like, we
Yeah.
better run.
Nobody
her.
does this.
Nobody.
This makes no sense.
Back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. When I met you, I was married to Joe, my second husband. And Joe was pretty broke down.
Yes.
Like he hurt himself.
As in, like, physically.
Like physically, well, in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know.
But he, so 6 months after we got married, he hurt his back. And the doctor, Dr. Hand in Lindale, told him, which is a DO in Lindale that had been a DO forever, he told him, "You'll never work again." So Joe's like, "All right, I'll never work again."
Right.
And just took that to heart. He could do so many other things.
Yeah.
But the maddest I ever got at him, and I got mad at him a lot. I mean, I divorced him, but the maddest I ever got at him was we were going to go see your band because many careers and a few bands.
Mm-hmm.
And now, a word from our sponsor, me. In this episode, you heard all about the adventures in moving that Mark helped me with. It got me thinking. I moved a lot. I moved for a variety of reasons. I moved because my then husband had a heart attack and he felt that we were too far away from a hospital. I moved once because there was water coming into my den area and the landlord refused to fix it correctly. and I moved several times because the landlord increased my rent and I could no longer, as a single mom, afford the places that we'd been renting. 99% of my moves was because I was held subject to the whims of landlords. I had no control over what my renewed lease terms would be, how quickly or well responded the issues that I needed to be addressed, or would just get priced out of a place that I tried to make comfortable for my kids and I. It wasn't until I purchased my home that I felt more control. I know what my monthly mortgage is, and if something needs fixing, yes, I have to take care of it, but I know it'll be done when it needs to be done, and it'll be done right. Everyone is trying to figure out when is the best time to buy a house. Do you wait until rates go down? Do you buy now to avoid the inevitable rush when they do? I think you should buy the house when you're ready to take control and make that space your own. Luckily, whenever that feels right for you, I can help. I'm a local mortgage broker who knows the struggles, respects the hurdles, and can help you get through them. Let's sit down and take a look at your goals and make sure you're headed in the right direction. And who knows? Maybe I can even get Mark to help you move into your new home. Just kidding. He threw his back out getting an avocado pit out. He's not helping. Well, to talk to me about your home buying goals, you can reach me at Christine at tworiversmtg.com or call me at 903-343-1370. That's Christine Lassiter with Two Rivers Mortgage, CHRISTINE at TWORIVERSMTG.com, NMLS 2248608. And now back to your program.
Mark was a pretty talented musician.
Hmm.
So we were going to go see the band. What was the name of that bar?
It had like 4 different names.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was called at the time. It was the Laughing Dog the last time that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
it. But I don't think it was called that at that time. But either way.
So we go. I'm meeting my friends that I had introduced to Mark. So all of the senior marketing friends, we were all going to go see your band, and it was like 9:00. A normal time that bands go on to play, and Joe was already complaining about how late it was, and decided that night that he needed his cane. And
Oh, yeah.
way over exaggerated how difficult it was for him to walk.
He did. Didn't
And yeah, it was because, I lived with him. I saw him every day.
Yeah.
I knew how he could get around. But that night, the cane
remember that.
came out, and it was such a exaggerated
he was hunched over. Yeah, he was
wobble.
definitely favoring whatever foot.
Whatever.
And
and I was so angry because he was using that
as an
as a
excuse
crutch.
to go home. Yeah.
As a crutch.
Yeah. The cane is a crutch?
The cane is a crutch. And then probably, 15, 20 minutes after we got there, he was already too tired and decided he was going to just go sit in the truck. And I was like, you know what? That's fine.
Right.
You just go sit in the truck.
I'm staying here until close.
Yeah. I came here to see, I needed to get out of the house. I came here to see a band. That was the night of Big Balls in Cowtown.
Oh, yeah.
Mark, first of all, this pisses me off. Your bandmates thought that Joe and I were your parents.
They did.
They did.
Or
That
at least one of them did.
pissed me off. Like, dude, I know I'm older than you. I am not. You could not be my
He
child.
hadn't had the fucking cane. It would
He
have.
did. Well, when he was tall, dark hair, I mean, I could see where they could probably make that leap with Joe, because Joe is several years older than me.
Yeah.
Like 7 years older than me, but not me. Damn it. So we, that was the first thing. They thought we were your parents. But the lead singer of your band. So we were up front, like we know the band, kind of thing. And we're up front, and I don't know what the deal was, but the lead singer, you could make out that he had the biggest balls. And, because the height we were, I mean, it was just like, that's what you're going to see if you're there. And so we were kind of laughing about it and talking about it amongst our table. And he got really mad because he thought we were laughing at y'all's music. He
Yeah.
got really angry about that because he thought we were laughing at y'all as a band. And instead, we were just laughing because
you could see his testicles.
because we could
Or
see,
you could see the outline.
the
You
biggest,
could see his camel toe.
or
his camel
big
nub,
balls in
or
Cowtown.
whatever. Yeah.
And so we thought that was hysterical, and he got so pissed. And then he got pissed when you told him what it really was.
He got mortified. But see, there was one time that we were playing. He was wearing shorts, which
That wasn't a shorts kind of band.
Yeah, you just don't do that. And he was wearing shorts, and at that he was married by then, and so he had mixed his and his wife's clothes together when they washed them, and he he put, I guess he didn't use fabric softener, I don't know, but so he put his shorts on and he came up and we're playing and he's like stomping his foot, and a pair of his wife's panties fell out of his shorts because they were statically clinging
Right.
to the inside and through his...
I wonder which was more mortifying, that or big balls in
I
Cowtown.
think well, everybody saw them fall out of the bottom of his
Right.
shorts. So, everybody's...
Did he just quit? Did he just quit after that?
Yeah,
Did he
pretty
just-
much. Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
actually...
I don't need to be on
yes,
stage.
that's actually kind of what happened.
I
yeah,
need
but-
to not be in public eye anymore because
Yeah.
I can't handle the shit that happens.
Right.
It's funny because I'd go to wherever you were waiting tables, but occasionally, you and I'd be going to lunch or something, and I would have you come to pick me up at work, and which was delightful because, like, I worked at nursing homes and such, and my office was on the second story of this nursing home, and I knew Mark was coming, and I could have waited
Was that
downstairs.
the one on 5th Street?
Mm-hmm. I could have waited downstairs, but instead I made
She
Mark
made me wade through.
walk through all the old people who just adored Mark. And he had to go through the whole crowd. They all crowded around the elevator, which he was going to have to take to come. He was so pissed when he got up to my office.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was good times for me. That was my way of entertaining myself, was because I knew it would annoy you too.
I know.
Which that's why it surprised me so much when you showed up at Prestige Estates and you were just sitting in a chair at the last assisted living that I worked at, and I at that time I was wearing reading glasses and I couldn't see far away. I just had my reading glasses on and I couldn't see. It was blurry far away, but I could see you sitting in a chair across the room. And again, just like seeing your uncle walk, I'm like, that's Mark. Why is he here? Is he here to see me? It was such which is a random thing that you would have not done without us making an appointment. Just show up at where the old people
Right.
were.
Because I think at that point I didn't know that you had...
You didn't even know I worked. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that you knew I worked there. And I walked across the room. I'm like, what are you doing here? Are you here to see me? And you're like, no, I'm here to see my grandpa.
grandfather.
I'm like, and then it hit me that one of our residents had the
we
same
had
last
the same
name.
last name, yeah.
It didn't even occur to me that that was
The
your...
same thing happened with Kamiko.
Yeah.
And I've known her since we were in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I walked up and she goes, why are you...
Why are you...
And I said, my grandfather's here. And she goes, Jack.
Yeah.
And I said, uh-huh. She goes, I
Didn't
never...
that-
Totally uncommon last name.
Yeah.
Never made the
I've only ever
connection.
known two, and I think you were related to Kyle Risinger, who was a couple years older than me.
Yeah, there was some kind of relation. I don't
Yeah.
think we ever could figure out
Yeah,
where
but
there was
there's
something back.
only two I've ever known.
Yeah.
Ever. So yeah, that was a surreal situation. Yeah, that was good times. But yeah,
suppose.
we've known each other for
Yeah.
a hot minute.
Yeah. Sweet.
What other careers? So you did the You did, waiting all the tables, all of the tables.
All of the tables in the world, in the entire civilized world. I waited
You were
those
going to be a
tables.
firefighter.
I wanted to be a firefighter there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Oh, if that, remember a few minutes ago when I was saying, I decided that I was never going to say.
Yeah.
I wish, that was, I wish I'd gone ahead and done that, because that was one of those things that I was going to have to go back to school, because you had to be at least an EMT. Actually, in Tyler at that time, you did not. But everywhere else in the world, you had to be an EMT. And so I was going to have to go and do a semester at TJC to get certified or whatever.
Yeah.
As a basic EMT, like I definitely, just to learn how to take blood pressure, I guess,
Right.
Or whatever, because I don't even think an EMT can, or at least not down there. They basically drive the ambulance. I think they assist with things, but they don't do any sort of like medical, like I don't even think they do. They might do like first aid.
Right.
They might do CPR and stuff, but if it's anything above that, like they don't put their hands on it. So I guess as a firefighter, you end up having to be a paramedic, but yeah, that's the only reason I didn't.
Sometimes they end up at a crisis situation before the paramedics, so they got to know some stuff.
Yeah. But that's the reason I didn't go through with that, because I was like, no, I'm done with school. I can't, I don't have time to be going back to school. Yeah, I'm too old. I'm too old for that.
Too cool.
Yeah, I got life to live.
Yeah.
I can't be like wasting my time keeping on going back to school to better myself.
And so then you had 40 other careers after
right,
that.
yeah. So then life spiraled out of control and went downhill. But no, that's one of the.
You were going to be an X-ray tech.
That was of no fault of my own, and that's actually something I don't want to get into because there's no. I can't BS my way through that, but that might divulge a little bit too much.
Okay.
Like info,
right.
that and it's nothing super bad. It just
We'll talk about it later.
we can. Yeah. I never told you about that.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be something on our way to Aberdeen that we talk about.
Aberdeen.
So we can go see Kurt Cobain's home place.
the managing the restaurant at Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
And then Big Bend.
Yeah.
Same thing, the national parks. It's actually got me put national parks on my radar as a career, but not yet. Because at that point, I'd gotten older and decided, I'm not too old to go back to school. So I went back to school because I was going to be a geologist. Then I had a midlife crisis. Everything went, when it hit, it hit. I don't even know if I was at midlife, but I was like 30.
I've seen the way you live.
6?
It might have been.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm a mentally 78-year-old man. But that was the midlife crisis right there. It was like, I said, when I graduate with a second bachelor's degree, I'm going to be X amount of years old. And I can't do that. Like, now I am as old as what I thought I was going to be when I'm a little older than what I thought I was going to be when I graduated, and so went to work.
Hindsight.
Well, I don't know if that one's, I may have dodged a bullet on that one, because there's certain things that look and which I'm getting tripped up here because these coincide.
All right.
At least in my experience, there's certain things in life that look really neat from the outside, but then once you get in and find out how they really work,
right,
kind of like the magician thing.
Yeah.
Once you get in and find out how they really work, it really ruins the whole experience. And that's when I thought I was going to be a geologist. The more of the geology classes that I went to, because that was something I was really interested in, till I got into the meat and potatoes of it, and then I went, I don't think I'm interested in this. I thought I was. I would go to the used bookstore. I wouldn't seek out But if I were over in like the science section or whatever, and I saw something on the San Andreas Fault or Krakatoa volcano or whatever, the Appalachian Mountains and how they formed and
Right.
stuff, I'm buying that book and I'm reading the shit out of it,
Right.
and I'm enjoying it. And I thought, well, if I like this so much, this is what I should do. So, like I said, so you get into these things and you go, ooh, whoops. And then that's when I went, well, always enjoyed trains.
Yeah, I forgot you were
So then
train
So
conductor.
then I went work for the railroad, which is just like geology. Once you get into it, you go, man, this sucks. I mean, you get paid really well, but there's a reason. It's because you have zero quality of life.
Yeah, just
I did
riding the rails.
Yeah, I did that for 2 years, and then ended up getting a job with the actual National Park Service as a park ranger. So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
We'll see. I've been at that. I haven't even been at that a year. It's been, let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, December, 8 months.
has it only been 8 months?
It's only been 8
It
months.
seems longer.
Yeah.
Probably because you did work in those other, national parks, but it wasn't as a park ranger.
No, yeah, I
So,
was working
yeah.
for the concessionaire.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see. I'm not
you haven't figured out.
disgruntled with it yet.
You haven't figured out what you're gonna be when you grow up, and that's okay.
No.
That's all right. No, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I may stick with this one, though. We'll see.
We'll see. I'll get that call one day, and then I'll be like, "Hey, so now I'm gonna."
No, you're going to get the call saying, I'm going to move into your basement because I need to.
Because I need to figure my life out.
Right. And what better place to figure your life out than Portland, Oregon, right?
I've had my second midlife crisis, and
Right, yeah. Yeah, all within 10 years, it just shellacked me.
Yeah.
But
Man, I remember I think one of the times that kind of flipped, we were talking about how when you realize kind of how precious life is a little bit, and then you realize, oh, I've got to keep these relationships strong. And, when you got into that car wreck and you were stuck there for,
oh, yeah.
like,
for hours.
For hours.
Like 8 hours.
Yeah, like a
9
long
hours,
time,
something
like
that,
a scary amount of time.
Yeah.
And
Scared me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, if you die, nobody's going to call me and tell me something happened to you.
Right. At that time, the friends that I had didn't know you. I mean, Josh knew you.
Yeah.
But
he's not going to call me.
He had no way of getting in contact with you that I know of.
I mean, anybody can find anybody on Facebook if they want to, but would they even think about it? So I'm like, you need to let your family know.
That would have never.
We need to make sure our families know each other's phone numbers just in case anything ever happens to either of us, so that we can.
Somebody knows. Yeah.
So somebody can let us know, because we've, for many years now, we've lived far apart from each other.
Yeah.
Like, you freaking live about as far away in the United States from me as you possibly can right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not even on the mainland.
Yeah. Yeah.
On an island. Off the
You're
mainland.
like, where in the map is as far away from Christine can I be?
We're still not a United States territory. I still want to be on a state.
Yes. Just barely.
Just
barely.
Yeah.
So you're like, I need to leave the East Coast. So let's go to the West Coast. Let's literally go to the coast, because that's what you want to do today.
Yeah.
Go to the coast. Because Kurt Cobain
Yeah, that's right.
is on the coast.
We don't have to go to Aberdeen.
I don't care.
We can go to Astoria.
Wherever you want to go, it's fine. That's, hey, it's your trip.
That's
I
true.
mean, you drove, you
How
flew.
far is Astoria?
It's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
It's about, it's not, whatever you want to do. Seriously, it's pretty similar in distance. We can figure it out. Let's figure it out while we're on air, so everybody can just see our thought process. Our thought process of like, well,
that's what we're doing.
let's see.
If they could see the look on my face. where it's
Everything
like,
in Aberdeen is Kurt Cobain. then you could say, I've been to
in case this makes the final cut, which I imagine it won't.
It definitely will. Why not?
The only reason that I'm not like some Kurt Cobain Nirvana freak or anything. They were a band that
People are familiar with them.
the biggest band in the world when I was 12 years old. That and as a musician, like I had never experienced. I mean, what the band before that would have been what Guns N' Roses, I guess would have been the biggest band in the world. I was too young.
Yeah.
For that, so this was
when you were of an age that you could appreciate music,
right, and the whole thing just made an impression on me. So
yeah,
I thought I had a biography, authorized biography of the band, and that I read sometime in the early '90s, and I just thought, I'm so close. It'd be neat to put a visual to what I read.
I think there's a tribute there. I don't think there's
a park.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of other things there, but I think that there's
not, but
there is a. You already know.
I have addresses.
Yeah.
I have addresses to things that wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like you would.
You can't be a fair weather person to know where these are. You have to be somebody.
Yeah.
You'd
have to know like what the connection is.
Yeah.
To this place, but then there's also there's one where there's a connection, but it's a place where another band called Melvin's came from, where they practiced. That's in the same town. They practiced there for a little bit,
right?
But I thought, and they're still around, and I'm a huge fan, and I thought, that's cool. That's something I never would have thought of. But then I saw that this guy was like, hey, so Kurt slept here occasionally. And I'm like, yeah, I remember reading that in that book. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'd love to see. Now, we're not going to take pictures. I'm not going to take pictures. These are people's houses.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There's no way. I'm not going to have some redneck come out and blow my head off because over something that
yeah, it's not their fault
is
that
inconsequential,
Yeah.
and they think that I'm doing something nefarious or we are.
I mean, you look sketchy.
I know.
I'd be your saving grace because I look so vanilla.
I know, yeah. You'd be like, it's okay.
He's fine. He's with me.
He's from Texas.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's from Texas. It's okay.
They're going to be like, oh, is that your sugar mama?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. They will. Yeah.
That happened once.
Yeah.
That was before you were going to Alaska. You needed an outfit for your interview. And you're like, come shopping with me. So we went to Dillard's.
Yeah.
And, you're looking at all these clothes. You're asking me about them and everything else. And there was an older gentleman there that was,
he was very dapper.
Kind of helping us out.
He was. He knew his stuff.
And when it come to, you put your clothes up there and he looked at me like I was going to pay for your clothes. Yeah. And I was like, no. I still have pictures also of you doing a photo shoot in those clothes, but you don't have shoes on, and you're just wearing your black socks. And
my black socks have diamonds sewn in on the sides of
the
it.
knee up on the way too high up on the arm of the couch.
I've got those pictures.
Those are cool.
I actually used one of those on a dating profile.
Did you?
Yeah. It's the point.
Oh, the
it's
point
the point
picture?
wink.
Yeah, you did the whole
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best.
Mm-hmm.
That was good times.
That dating profile has not been successful ever in my life. And
Mark is single.
I don't think it has anything to do with
for
that.
all the gals out there.
Yeah, right.
He is single and ready to mingle.
That's right. Yeah. I only live 2,500 miles away.
This is a podcast. It stretches far and wide.
That's true. That's true.
You should actually promote it in your area.
That's why I'm worried about dropping names and saying stuff.
Yeah, nobody listens to it, but it can reach far and wide.
Yeah.
It can be heard anywhere. It's not heard anywhere, but
Right.
it can be
but
heard
it has
anywhere.
potential to be.
Well, I think I'm going to do a little shift because this is my episode where I want to kind of update everybody on what I've been doing for the last, for several months.
Right. Where have you been, Christine? I have gotten.
Where in the world is Christine?
That's exactly how it came out. And so, Christine, I've gotten like 25 phone calls from people saying, "What happened?
What happened with Christine?
Where's Christine?" And so now is your chance.
I gotta tell
to
you,
shine and say,
I've been finding my weird.
Right? Oh, I thought you were going to say you were pregnant.
Oh God, thank God, no.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm actually. That's what's been happening is I'm now officially in menopause, like legit officially in menopause,
Yeah, right.
and that throws you way off. So I found my weird and lost my ovaries. So, yeah, a little bit has happened since my last episode. So I was recording one of the episodes that'll be coming up in season 2 because I have several banked that, and I came out of the studio from recording, and the sound engineer here, Jory, he knew that I've had all these weirds come in for my interviews and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you ought to do a music video with all the weirds." And I'm like, "Okay," and stepped away from him, stepped over to this is on the studio here is on the second story of this building, and there's like a little half wall that I leaned over and I was talking to Amy, the owner. And
Balcony.
A balcony, yes, that's the word. When you're going through menopause, sometimes your brain is not.
Sometimes you
get
just
words.
call balconies half walls. It just happens.
Words are hard. So I was leaning over and I was like, "Amy, Jory thinks I need to do a music video here with the weirds. Okay, I could do a We Are the World." And then like that, I mean, as quick as that, I said, "Oh my God, we are the weird."
That's awesome.
And it happened so fast.
Best ideas.
It was
every time.
It was the craziest thing. It happened in such a flash that I saw it. I saw the whole thing, and so a little about me. I don't sing. I don't know music. I played trumpet in high school, but I literally could not read music if my life depended.
I played trumpet in junior high. I couldn't. I mean, I play music, but if you told me I can read it, but it'd take me all day. I understand exactly where you're coming from. There's no way.
But
you can sing. I mean, you're not like Mariah Carey.
How dare you?
Oh my God. You ain't no Katy Perry. You ain't no Rihanna.
Rihanna?
Yeah.
That's the one I'd actually rather be. Rihanna. But no, it was one of these things that I know nothing about making a music video or anything like that. And, but I was talking to Amy here about it, and she's like, "Yeah, do it. You can use the studio here for it." And I had just been to the Sleestack's Big Adventure movie premiere. So my friend Brent, the Portland Sleestack, had just put together a production. So I met with him and somebody else who works with productions that goes by No One, Eric. And so I met with them and I'm like, "Here's my idea." And they're like, "Sounds like a great idea." But they didn't know where I should start either. And so I put out a Facebook post about it, and I had Brent tag a bunch of people, and we tagged a bunch of people, and I'm like, "If you're interested in doing this, join this Facebook page I started." And within 24 or 48 hours, I had almost 60 people who had joined the page.
Dang.
It was insane, and I was like, "Oh, it might be a thing now." Then it got a little bit.
Together.
Then it's like a little scary because it's like,
now I have to do something.
Here's a great idea. Oh shit! I got to figure out how to do this great idea.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so how do I do this? I know what I'll do. I need to get categories. So we need like a production team. We need like a team of musician, songwriter, musician people. So out of that group, I kind of gathered 2 different teams and, had like a production meeting. And then we were going to have a music meeting. But before that, I'm like, I'm just going to do a courtesy and I'm going to email the powers that be that own We Are the World. and tell them what we're doing and say we'd like to do a parody of it. So I find out, I email, and, not even expecting a response, honestly, because, first of all, We Are the World came out in 1985, and that's been a long time ago. And
whoever's
managing
may not be with us anymore.
Whoever's managing all that, or do they even care anymore?
Or, who cares about little old you?
Yeah.
So
I got an email back, and it said, no. And I was like, it was a fairly short, simple email saying, no, that we don't allow, da-da-da-da. Yeah. And I was like, the same response that every person since I've brought this up has had is, well, what about Weird Al?
How does
plus
how
there
do people
are
get the rights?
There are tons of parodies of We Are the World and a billion other songs that are out there. So how? And so I emailed her back, and I'm like, I fully respect that. I'm just curious as to
your reasoning,
how all of these other people can do this. And the lady goes, I appreciate your persistence on this, but I don't have time to write out a dissertation about copyright law. And then she wrote me the longest email I've ever
I think
seen.
You sent that to me.
I did. It was
I think I
unhinged. It was unhinged.
It was, because I read it.
She goes off on the Westboro Baptist Church and anti-vaxxers, and I'm like, what the actual I just asked if, this little old weird community can do like a little fun parody. It was the longest email. She didn't have time to write a dissertation, so she wrote a dissertation that was totally unhinged. It was bonkers.
That's funny.
And so I was like, so I had to go to our first music meeting. We had it in my garage. There was 6 or 7, musicians and everything else that were there. And I had to go in and say,
we can't.
All right, guys, here's the deal.
We got to make our own.
We can't use We Are the World.
Right.
I emailed, they said no. They said unequivocally no. And so we're going to have to come up with a song. And then immediately some of them dropped out. Like, they're like, oh, hell no, that's too much work. So in the meantime in all of this, I had met with Brian, who is the Unipiper, who is the president of Weird Portland United. When I interviewed him for the podcast, I had told him that I'd love to be a part of Weird Portland United, that they were talking about having the Weird Portland Gala again. They'd had one in 2019, and I'd love to help with that. So he and I went and had lunch, and I was telling him about the video and asking him if he wants to participate. He goes, yeah, I definitely want to participate. Also, I think that needs to be the theme of the gala. And I'm like, oh, I really do have to figure this out now.
Yeah.
This is
it just keeps elevating.
It keeps becoming a bigger thing than I ever anticipated.
Yeah.
So
from a half
wall idea,
leaning over a half wall idea.
The light bulb literally above my head going ding. So I I talked to the team. I'm like, we got to write a song. And at this point, I'm like, we're going to do the gala in probably early November. So I need to make a schedule of, if I'm going to pull this out of my ass, I need to kind of make a backward schedule on when we need things done.
Yeah.
And so, I did that. I'm like, we need to have the song lyrics by this time. And then, I had not thought through any of this. Like, once you have the song lyrics, somebody's going to have to write the music. So, and it
has to be similar enough yet different to associate it with the song that you were told you can't.
All of this was bonkers on my behalf. That why did I ever think I could do this?
Yeah.
So I'd kind of thrown it out there. I was hoping to get some ideas on song lyric stuff, and I wasn't getting anything back. So I was like, shit, I'm going to have to write the song. And I don't know how to write a song. I did use AI to give me a structure.
Yeah.
But then I had to actually write the song because I wanted to make it really personal to the weird community here.
Yeah.
And so I actually wrote the song. When we had one of our production meetings, one of the gals in our production meeting was like, okay, well, you need to make sure you have a bridge in it. I'm like, what's a bridge? I didn't know anything. I was so embarrassed that I'm like, they're going to look at me like, why are we on board with this gal? She doesn't know shit.
Right. Yeah.
In the meantime,
Yeah. We're being grifted right now.
Right. Like the fact that so many people hitched to my wagon.
If I didn't know you, I'd have, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have totally been like, what?
Yeah. It was the craziest thing. And then there was this guy that I had met through Nick, who I've also had on my podcast, Nick Sin, who was he was a camera guy. Well, he decided he wanted to make a documentary of the making of this. Like, it had turned into this, such an insane thing. And at this time, I mean, I'd met probably 15 weirds through my podcast from interviewing them. So, I mean, I didn't even have like a big net, but putting it out there. So, those 15 knew me from the podcast, but nobody knew me in the weird world otherwise. So I've got this camera guy coming to my meetings, and I'm sitting there in all my meetings going, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's figure this out. And one of the gals in my production meeting, her ex-husband was a composer, so she got me connected with him. I sadly sang him the song. He composed the music from me singing it. And in this randomness, when I wrote the song, one part of it just naturally felt like a rap, which, it's like, I'm just about the widest, but this was, I'm like, it's easy rap. It's like 1980s BC Boys kind of little rap,
Run
super simple rap. So I got a composer that helped with composing the music. And then the musicians from the different bands, they decided, that since we had a song and we had music, that they were going to come and help play the music. We didn't have a piano player, so I just put it out there in the Facebook universe, found a guy, and he's like, yeah, let me take a look at it. 2 days, turned around, he had it recorded.
Now, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I didn't realize. So, I guess I never asked. The music.
It's all played by
musicians in a studio.
Here.
For that particular.
For this.
I guess I just always assumed that it was like a.
No.
Like a.
It's all original.
Free. You know what I'm talking about?
No, it was all original. We had Brad from Gargar.
Yeah.
We had Moose on drums.
Yeah.
We had Tiny Duck Hunt on guitar.
So
Brad was bass.
You see in the video, you see people like I particularly remember the drummer.
But yeah. Yeah. Moose literally.
I thought that was just for effect. I mean, I'm not saying that they were, obviously recording.
He definitely was
it,
still
it was
playing.
Yeah.
No, he was definitely playing. But not recording, but he was definitely playing because he can't help himself.
Yeah. I would have done the
yeah,
same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
No, this was literal, like.
I just thought it was like free use.
No.
That sounded very similar to the song.
Okay. It was actually composed from me writing it, singing it. It was composed by a composer. It was played by real musicians in the studio, except for the piano guy. He didn't come up, but he has his own studio, so he recorded his part.
So he put his stuff over the top of it. Huh.
Jory, the guy who came up with the idea, bless his heart. Jory was so excited about it. He didn't have any idea what he was getting into either, because he jumped on board to do this too. He'd never even, he's young. He'd never even heard of We Are the World when I came up with the idea. I had to here's what it is. You need to go watch it about 157 times.
Right. Yeah. You'll be tired of it by the fifth time, promise.
So you can watch every version. You can watch the...
I don't think, it's not official, but I think they're rehearsing it. Mm-hmm. And Michael Jackson and Huey Lewis standing there next to each other, and Michael sings his part. Huey goes into his part.
And Michael
Huey sounds a little weird. Michael cuts eyes at him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, we've talked about that. We've discussed all of that. We've discussed how, what's his name? My brain just went dead again. It's Bob, oh, my God. Dylan. Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan, yeah.
How he looks like he doesn't even know why he's there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
all like spaced out going,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even know, like he
That
looks
actually
like,
sounded just like Bob
no,
Dylan.
he
Yeah.
didn't know, he doesn't know it. So I can sing.
You could have been at Woodstock.
So I got all these people, and then I got these camera people, and I came up with scenes that I wanted shot. And we had one scene. So the same gal that got me connected with the composer, she also works with people with some like autistic and things like that. So she asked if we could have some of them in the video. So I'd planned a little scene for them. And there's these art pianos that go out all across the city. They're very cool. They do this once a year, and they drop 10 pianos around the city. And I thought it'd be really cool to open this video with Lori's team. They're kind of dressed up in various costumes, and one of them, pretending to play the piano. And we got them all set up, and we went up there. This was our first shoot of the whole thing. And we go up there, and it's me and the camera guy get there first. It's at the top of this hill, and the piano is smashed to splinters. I don't even know how they smashed it so much. It was just totally destroyed. And I was destroyed because I'm like, that is my first scene.
Right.
It is this group of people that when you make a shift in what they're expecting is more challenging, and I want to be respectful of that. I also want to make sure and find a way of putting them in the video because this was what I told them that I was going to do. So we kind of adjusted a video shoot with them, and I said I'll figure out later of how I'm going to incorporate that in the video. I got my soloists. So my first soloist, somebody drops out of that. So I'm like, shit, we already have the place booked, because that one we had to book at a different location just because Lori was having some foot surgery stuff and she wasn't going to be able to climb up the stairs up here. So we go to this other studio, and it's too late to figure out who's going to do this solo part. So I end up having to do a solo. I was not planning on doing any solos. Well, we made that work. So we got verse 1, verse 2. We got the rap. Again, we had a situation where, don't laugh. Just because I wrote a rap. And
you just look like a gangster rapper.
I totally,
wicka
what?
I know. Now that I'm looking at you, I'm just like, it totally makes sense that there would be a rap.
Of course there would be. And then again, somebody on the way to the studio called out because he didn't have a sitter. And I'm like, I had planned it with 3 rappers, and I'm like, oh, how do I shift? And then we got here, and then one of the guys that works here at the studio, he was here, and I'm like, hey, James, would you want to? And so he said yes, but it was a hesitant. And then he definitely did not want to. And so we recorded the stuff there, but it was not working the way I wanted it to. So we had the bridge, which I know it is now. Again, another singer dropped out. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Again, there was no way, it was too late so I had to sing another part. And I'm like, oh my God. But I refused to show myself singing 2 solos. So I had to dub in the ghost in the video is me singing, but it's a different character that I had her come in and she's doing. Since she's got the ghost,
you can't
tell that she's not really singing. I'm like, this will be perfect. We got Timber Joey, which is the mascot for the Portland Timbers team, and then we did a huge photo shoot. I mean, a video shoot for the chorus. And I'm like, first of all, I am a creative. I love creatives. Scheduling creatives is a logistical nightmare. It's so hard. And I thought, God, what if nobody shows up? What if I've done all this work? Because we'd filmed everything up until that point. What if nobody comes?
Yeah.
What if we don't? And so we got here, and it was packed out. I mean, 30, 40 weirds. I'm like, and again, don't know what I'm doing, but I made a schedule out. I'm like, we're going to practice here. We're going to record the voices here. We're going to take lunch.
In a not big room.
In a not very big room, but seemed big until you crammed all the people, especially when they all got in costume. You know?
And some people's costumes make them twice as big as what they are.
And then I'm directing. Oh, I forgot to, so we'll go into this in a minute in what I was directing in, because I haven't mentioned that part because nobody knows about that part of me yet. There's been a lot that's happened since I last talked to everybody. So we got the video done. And in this meantime, we had 4 camera people. I got an editor. Everybody volunteered their time. Every person volunteered their time.
That's
this
cool.
video shoot with all of these people, which should have cost a lot, more than $10,000. It should have cost more than $10,000 to make. It cost. We ended up paying. Lori donated money for the other studio, so that was like $350 or something for that studio. And then I bought curtains for the backdrop, so it made it look kind of like the We Are the World video. And then I decided I wanted something other than like sandwiches for the food that people were going to eat here. So I made 2 briskets, and so the food, and I made vegan choice. I made like this big ton of food for everybody. So it was like, I think with what Lori did and the food and stuff, I think $900 out of pocket, period, for the whole thing.
That's good.
And which is, ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Especially for something that you're not really going to see a return on.
It's not
like money-wise.
No, I'm not getting anything from it.
Yeah.
But it turned out far better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, because I've only seen, as far as I know, the rough cut.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is real. I mean, this is like a Motley Crue video, bro.
With a little bit of Run DMC in the center.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
I love, I think my favorite part is the rap, actually. I really love the rap part. Who knew? But it ended up being so much fun. It was a massive undertaking. Like literally most of the time that I've been off has been dedicated to just putting so much energy into that video. But before the video started, because I knew I was going to need to do this before the video, in this podcast, as I'm trying to figure out my weird, I know there's something in me that's kind of, I'm trying to figure out what that is. And I never in my life would have thought I'd been a costume character. Like that never occurred to me. But I got to see kind of the joy that so many of these, like this Lee Stack, when we stood out on the corner and people were just going bonkers over him. They just, like, little old ladies were coming up to him going, "Oh my God, this is so good." Little kids were so excited, and it was just, their joy. And I would see it would be such a mutual thing, because Brent would be giving joy to the community, but also he was getting so much joy out of it. Yeah. And you think like, that's what a cool thing that you can give an experience, a joy to somebody, and you're going to get such positive back from it. And, and then the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, when I interviewed them, Sister Donna said, one of the things I will always hold dear to me is, she said, we make ourselves the biggest and weirdest things in the room so that anybody that is around us will feel like they can be themselves, whatever that is. So the bigger and weirder we are, they have room to be who they are. And I was like, that's such a powerful thing. It gives permissions to people to, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to be a costume character. I can be, for people who are, of the LGBTQ community, or, people who are awkward, or people who, whatever their situation, they can feel like it's okay to be whoever I am, whatever that means. And so one day out of the blue, I was like, it'd be really cool to be a unicorn centaur.
Explain. I know what a unicorn is.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I know what a centaur is, because I know that I messed up one time and I called you a minotaur.
Right.
And I thought you were going to kill me.
No.
So
Centaur is half human, half horse.
right.
And again,
Well, what the hell is a minotaur then?
I don't know. I'm not one, so I don't know. I don't know. It might be the same thing. Hell, I don't know. But I know I'm a centaur. So
Okay.
again, in the vein of let me do things that I've never done and I don't know how to do, I went online and I looked up how do you make a centaur costume. And I found this gal in Denver who apparently has done a really good job at making a centaur costume, so much so that she made like an ebook on how to. So I'm like, I'd look through it. I'm like, I could do that.
She wrote a book.
She wrote a book on how to make a centaur. Yeah, $15. You buy the line. It's a PDF that she sends you, and so I
may have just been inspired. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
I would absolutely love.
No, I just
write
little
a
seeds. But
yeah.
yeah.
But I got the book, got everything. I worked
Centaur making for dummies.
yes, basically, and I worked on it for about 80 hours. It was a long time.
It's longer.
But I just went down there, got it put together. I mean, it's functioning. Legs walk.
What is it made of?
So it's PVC pipe, kind of makes the frame.
Yeah.
So you got PVC pipe. You kind of make like a back end with a box on it. Basically,
Yeah.
it's a box with like a triangle that comes off of
Yeah.
it, and on that triangle you attach a rod, and that where you hinge it, and that's where your PVC legs come out.
Okay.
And then you cover it in foam and cover that in material.
Like styrofoam?
No,
Or
like
spray foam?
spray foam. So spray foam, a fabric over that, like a
cloth
matting over that to kind of make
yeah.
it softer.
Yeah.
And then you put your
Fur.
over
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And then you make your hooves. Like my hooves, actually, when they're on the ground,
Yeah.
they sound like horse hooves.
They clop.
Yeah, and that whole thing is put on by a belt. So I just have to I just fasten the whole thing on with a belt, and then I have garters that go up to on each knee that crisscross, and they make the legs. So when my left leg goes up, my right back leg goes up.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
so it makes that that alternate
Yeah.
walking motion.
That's cool.
And so the first time I tried it out, I went down to the Saturday market, which is a really busy market downtown, and just showed up. And it was the most surreal experience. So here I come, it's on, like it's brick and concrete right in front of this fountain. And you can hear, it sounds like a horse is walking across this thing. And apparently there's people at the Saturday market that have like real cameras. Like I don't know what these people, it's like guys that have real cameras. I don't know what these people are taking pictures of. It's suspect.
Like real cameras?
Like real cameras. Like it's suspect. Like, why are you just there with real cameras at the Saturday? Like, what are you taking pictures of? But it's because
For those of us who aren't from here, what is the Saturday market?
It's like where like vendors come like with
Is it a
their
farmer's
local,
market?
like they have like local made trinkets and stuff. Like they do it, mostly year round. It's it's
Okay.
nice little.
So it's like arts and crafts, but
yeah,
people
and it's
have
a
like
big
their
one. They do it every
honey
week.
and
Yeah, they do it every week.
jams
it's
and
kind of a
jellies
big
and
deal.
stuff.
Yeah, it's right down by the waterfront.
Okay.
So, but I get there and all of a sudden I see people whip like cameras. I mean, it's like paparazzi. I see people that are sitting around the fountain. Their phones go. Zip, like they're like, what am I seeing right now?
Yeah.
They're like all of a sudden recording me. Those that were like blatant and those were like I'm going to take a picture of her. Like, if I'm walking through there like a big-ass
Right.
horse, you can take pictures
Probably,
of me, okay?
probably not going to be upset
I'm
if
okay.
you, yeah.
So I just walk over there and I just stand for 2 hours. And it was an amazing experience because so many people came up to me. You know, they would be like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." You know, that's not something that a stranger's going to just like come up to you and say, you know, but it's very majestic. I'm all in white. It's a whole thing. It's just this, I mean, it really is kind of the whole thing is very majestic to see.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd make all these compliments, and I had no less than 3 people go, "I'm FaceTiming with so-and-so. Can you please talk to them?" I'm like, sure. Hi, you know.
Yeah.
Tons of pictures, you know. Like I said, there were some secret pictures. There were some like that were, you know, "Can we take your picture?" And the guys would come up to me. The older men would come up to me and they'd go, "How does it work?" You know, that's all they cared about. They didn't care about anything. They just needed to know the mechanics of how it worked.
How you make the back leg do that when the right leg, when the front leg does this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. That's what I
yeah, that's
wanted
what you
to
would have
know.
been.
Yes.
You'd have been like, "Hey, man."
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But how
Seriously.
does it work?
Right. Yeah. Can you make the tail move?
It was one again to be able to experience it personally, and know I had experienced it through Brent, and you know, and I'd seen other, you know, I've been around characters and stuff before, but to actually, I don't know why your recording stopped.
It says low battery.
Oh shoot!
20% battery remaining.
Can you close that out?
Okay.
Okay, we're back. Anyway, to see that happen in real life, magical. It was magical. It was such an incredible experience. And I was like, this is why people do this.
Yeah.
It's a giving and taking situation, and it's so positive. So when I did the music video, doing all of that, I did it as Aurelia Star Dancer.
That's how you directed it.
That I directed it in full centaur costume, which had to be hysterical to see in real life.
I'm sure it makes people take you more seriously.
As a weird.
Possibly. I don't know. It depends on which way you're looking at it. I could be being facetious,
right,
or I could be being for real.
Well, it definitely has put me in a doing all of this, doing the music video, doing the podcast, doing the being a centaur, doing the Weird Portland Gala, which we just finished up with in November, which was really fun and really great. It really has connected me with a huge, huge part of the weird community.
Yeah.
And the more that I get to know them, the more incredible and beautiful they are. It really is. That's one of the things that I started getting out of this podcast from the very beginning, is just how cool and incredible these people are as people. And, you know, when you start to see them as people and not weird, you know, we're all weird. I mean, you know, you look like everyday guy, you know,
I'm pretty weird.
Yeah, we just did you fit in perfectly. Like, it wasn't like I just pulled yours, you know, you definitely fit the podcast too. Everybody has.
We didn't even get into.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Yeah, that'll
really
be part 2, part 3, part 5. But yeah, it really is a remarkable thing. So in the past several months, I really have been working on, you know, kind of honing that weird.
Yeah.
And there's still so many things to come. There's some announcements that'll be coming up in the next few months that I'll put out there. But I really have embraced this community so much, and I know that my phone is going to die, and that'll screw things up a little bit. But like, I did jury duty, and during jury duty, got picked for jury. And one of the jurors, we were called into the jury room in between, you know, they give us breaks or whatever, and we're sitting in there. It was totally silent. It was very quiet. I could not stand it, because God forbid there be silence, I'm going to have to speak up. But I was like, hey, are y'all coming to the Weird Portland Gala? And they're like, what's that? So I started talking to them about it and talking to them about the music video and about the centaur. I had one guy go, I'd like to sketch you. I'm like, that's weird. But he apparently, he's sketchy people. So he sketches funny, weird things that he sees in Portland. He has several books. I have one at home I'll show you. And then he ended up being in my video. And then there was an op-ed editor for the Oregonian. And she said, I want you to write an article about why Portland needs weird. And so I wrote an op-ed in the Oregonian. Yeah. And actually I've had people reach out to me because they've seen that.
Yeah.
I've been on, because of the gala, I've been on OBT, the Oregon Broadcast Network.
I was going to say you were on. You did some interviews.
I did. I've done interviews. I've been on TV interview. So like in this very short time, I didn't even start the podcast even a whole year ago.
Right.
And in this short amount of time, it has exploded into something, because when I first started this, it was like, I don't know. I think there might be something there. Yeah. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, the whole thing wasn't necessarily about, or at least I don't think, it never came across to me as something about, I want to do this podcast because I want a bunch of people to listen to me and stuff like this. It was literally, I want to do this because I want to figure out there's something wrong with me, and I need to figure it out.
Or there's something different.
But
there's something inside me that I know that I've never been able to explore or even think about.
And so I want to start talking to a bunch of other people. About where, like, that was the whole point of it. The whole point of it wasn't, I want to get a Tide sponsorship. No. I want to.
But if I do, Tide, if you're listening.
Yes, right. Yeah, if you're listening.
No, it really is. It really, and it's been such a very natural, like no part of it was a forced thing.
Yeah,
it was
contrived.
It was all, I wasn't like, oh, okay, I've got to be a thing. It was like seeing Brent and talking to the sisters and all of that. I'm like, wow, that's touching something inside of me that I didn't know was there. And I really do plan on doing some really cool stuff coming up, in this next year and beyond. That's really, because we really need to bring a lot of positive and back into Portland, because during the pandemic there was a lot of negative thrown at us. And I really think that the weird community is one of the ways to do that, because it is such a positive. It's so beautiful. It's so creative. It's so lovely and giving. Mm-hmm. That is the way to do it. And, I really want to be a strong force in that. So
there you go.
I have a lot of things that are going to come up. So I'm still finding my own weird. I'm still continuing to dig deeper into that, because this is just what's happened in, less than a year. Yeah. I can't even imagine what's gonna happen after this. But there is a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen.
I've been dying to ask you this for a while now. Out of all the weirds, which one is the biggest asshole?
I'll never tell. Actually, most of them have been so incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you ask me in Texas who has been, I can give you way more answers there.
Yeah.
So this was my Catch You Up Guys episode. I will be showing at the end of this episode, I will be showing the We Are So Weird music video. So you do need, if you can be watching the video of this, it is well worth it. If not, you can go to my YouTube. I'll put links to where you can watch it. It is definitely worth seeing. It's a visual bonanza.
Bonanza. I thought you were going to say banana. Oh. And I was like, that's actually,
it's a visual
works.
Banana.
I was not expecting bonanza. I like it. I thought I was going to have to come in with a word, and you totally saved that. That was awesome.
I think, it's so weird that you thought I was going to say banana. That would have been odd.
It would have been weird.
It would have been so weird. But yeah, so this is it. I've got so many cool guests that are coming up. If you haven't listened to season 1, go back and listen to those. They're very incredible. Season 2, so exciting, so much cool stuff, and we haven't even scratched the surface. So I'm looking forward to doing more and more and more of these and really getting to know more and more people more intimately, because I think that is the key to it all is, we got to know people and know their stories, and that's how we connect more than anything. So Thank you so much, Mark, for being here and being my guest
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Thanks for trekking a billion trillion miles and hours to be here. You are one of probably my dearest friend ever, and I love you and appreciate you.
Love you back. Glad you had room for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Let's go do something stupid.
All right, Aberdeen, here it comes. All right.
The boring and mundane, we gathered round with our clothes on full display, with unicycle and bagpipe, we come together and unite. In our world of oddities, we'll find our light. Sisters, puppets, and cosplay, seasick and blast on from outer space, to the outcast, geeks, and bizarre. In our weirdness, we're a shining star. We are so weird. We're a big quirky family from different dimensions in our place of fantasy. We're creating an inclusive space for the art and the creative place. We're gonna change this world, just see.
There's a place where the misfits roam free, the land of weirdness where we all long to be, with moose and chicken in the Gar-Gar band. Dance and play and take a stand. From the dreamers lost in fantasy, to the thinkers that question reality, to the artists painting worlds unseen, to the most exotic of Portland drag queens.
We are so weird. We're a big quirky family from different dimensions in our place of fantasy. We're creating an inclusive space for the art and the creative place. We're gonna change this world, just see. There are times we're misunderstood, as if we're living out our childhood, playing dress up and running around. But we are not your average clown. Oh, yeah. We are so weird. We're a big quirky family from different dimensions in our place of fantasy. We're creating an inclusive space for the art and the creative place.
Bye.